Hello, my awesome project managers. Welcome to the PMP exam radio show. Today, we are going in for the 10 knowledge areas, but we're going to stagger them and break them down so that every 1 to 2 hours, I'll give you a lesson. And that's how we're going to spend this weekend, all right? So make sure you look for all 10 knowledge areas. Okay, so let's begin. The very first knowledge area we'll talk about is the integration management knowledge area. And I'm calling this knowledge areas in a couple of minutes, okay? Knowledge areas in 2 minutes. Integration starts off with the development of a document that authorizes the project. It's called a project charter. So that very first process, we create a project charter. After your project charter is created, bear in mind that you now have some understanding about what the project is meant to achieve and the direction the project is meant to be headed at a super high level. You're going to take that and you're going to break that down into smaller pieces all throughout the planning process group. So when you come back into integration at the end of planning, you are meant to have schedule, cost, scope, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder subsidiary plans, and any relevant baselines in schedule, cost, and scope. You bring all of these together and you create the project management plan. Theoretically speaking, it's the addition of all of these. It's talked about on page 89 of the 6th edition. Now I know the question you're asking, what about the 7th edition? Look, the 7th edition is like a PMP exam, nice little reference guide after you get certified in my mind. As far as reading the book to get certified, it has not demonstrated enough value for me to rest the 6th edition case. You get what I mean? And that's why most people are referring to it as a book that complements the 6th edition. There are some good things in the 7th, like the concept of a value delivery system being given a name, and many of the nice to know and nice to have methods, models, and artifacts. But as far as it laying the base, setting the base for your PMP, it doesn't. So my recommendation is kind of focus more on the 6th, right? So in closing, integration has the development of the charter, the development of the project management plan. It has the directing and execution of the work of the project. It has the collection and collation of lessons learned. So we have a lessons learned register generated from managed project knowledge, which is part of integration. Then we go into the monitor and control project work process, where we begin to monitor the project and we get work performance reports. And then we have perform integrated change control, which is where the change control board or the approving authorities on the project review the change requests and decide to approve or reject them or put them on hold, things like that. And last but not least, we have the closed project or phase process. In other words, you're either closing out a phase in the project or the project as a whole, and there's a smattering of things talked about on page 123 of the PMBOK Guide 6th edition that I would recommend you pay attention to. But the bottom line is this: if you're closing out a phase, be prepared to move into the next phase. If you're closing out a project, it could be for various reasons. Perhaps you've delivered what is necessary, or maybe the project has been shut down, but you've got to understand the circumstances. And there's a number of things on page 123 I would recommend you know for closing out a project or phase. Okay, just to cover your bases. As far as the exam being heavy on ITTOs and stuff, it's not. The exam is very light on ITTOs, very light on formulas, so if that's what's holding you back, you got very little to be concerned about. My recommendation is know at an intermediate level the 7 things I talked about. Develop project charter, develop project management plan, direct to manage project work, manage project knowledge, monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control, and close project or phase. If you understand those at that level, that is good, okay? The final question I would ask is the what's in it for me factor. What am I getting from this process? If I'm working this process called close project or phase, what do I expect the output to be? For those, I would say know those, because it helps you with a narrative. And when you experience questions on the exam, if they come from the hybrid domain, you stand a better chance when you really understand predictive stuff. If they come from the agile domain, you stand a better chance when you know agile. Now, if they come from a purely predictive domain, and a lot of folks say they don't typically, but if they were to come from a purely predictive domain, in some instances, you'd have a good grasp of it, all right? So going into the exam, just be ready to roll with the language. It's a language. Language is so important. Knowing what's in the glossary, knowing what they mean, I think that's really key to a lot of folks passing the exam. All right, my friends, I hope you found this to be useful. Don't forget to hit like, whatever platform you're on, please look for the like button. Help your buddy fill out, all right? You take care, look out for the next episode. Bye for now.